Welcome friends, welcome to another video of Quick Biology. Today I am going to discuss about menstrual cycle. And menstrual cycle means it is a 28-day total cycle of female body of primates. And we are here learning about menstrual cycle of female human body. So in menstrual cycle there are several hormonal regulations are there, and several it can be divided into several phases. And now we see a brief summary about the menstrual cycle. So the menstrual cycle begins at the age of 11 to 12, and it is also known as menarche, and it ends at 45 to 55 years, and it is called the menopause. It maintains a 28-day cycle, and different follicular and uterine changes occurs in this 28-day cycle. The menstrual cycle is controlled by different types of hormones like FSH, LH, like hormones which are secreted from pituitary gland, as well as estrogen, progesterone, these type of hormones which are secreted from ovary. So this hormonal interplay regulate the menstrual cycle. Actually, from hypothalamus, the growth hormone, the gonadotropic hormone releasing hormone GnRH is released, which controls the regulation of FSH and LH. And FSH and LH controls the menstrual phase and ovulatory phase and other different two phases in female body. So this is the menstrual cycle. So we can divide the menstrual cycle into 4 phases, and in these 4 phases there is a parallel changes occurs in ovary as well as in the uterus. So uterine wall and the ovary is changed periodically during menstrual cycle with the help of the hormone FSH, LH, estrogen and progesterone, as well as inhibin. Now we will look in detail at the first phase of menstrual cycle, which is menstrual phase. So menstrual phase mostly it remains for 3 to 5 days, and it is actually the desquamation of the endometrial wall. So endometrium is a layer, the inner layer of the uterus, which actually desquamates or comes out through the external genitalia of females, and this phase is known as menstrual phase. In this phase, the whole layer, the thickened layer of endometrium along with bloods comes out of the female genital opening, and here the blood do not clots inside the female body due to the presence of this product. This is known as fibrinolysin. This fibrinolysin prevents the clot production of blood, and blood comes out of the body. In this phase, all the titer of the hormones like FSH, LH, GnRH, estrogen, progesterone, all the hormones are now in a decreased phase, and the titer of the hormones are decreased. Now next phase is known as post-menstrual or follicular phase. So why 2 names? Because post-menstrual phase is named according to the changes of uterus, and follicular phase is named according to the changes of ovary. So simultaneously ovary and uterus have different types of changes in them. At first we will look at the changes in ovary. So during follicular phase, from the name you can understand that the follicles will gradually mature with the help of the hormone FSH. At first 6 to 12 follicles will grow, and among the 6 to 12 follicles the FSH receptors are there in their surface. Through those FSH receptors they receive the FSH in their surface, and each follicle will release some amount of estrogen and inhibin from the granulosa cells of the follicles. Now the estrogen will help to proliferate the primary, secondary, tertiary and the Graafian follicle, and ultimately it leads to Graafian follicle. But from the 6 to 12 follicles which are maturing, only one follicle will ultimately form Graafian follicle and the remaining one will be damaged, and this phenomenon is known as follicular atresia. This is known as follicular atresia, where all the developing follicles, not the ultimate one, is damaged. Now we will look at the changes in the uterus. In the uterus, at the post-menstrual stage, it can be divided into recovery phase and proliferative phase. The recovery phase takes about 2 days, and in the recovery phase the the uterine wall gradually recovers from the breakdown. The breakdown occurs in menstrual phase, and gradually it recovers itself from the breakdown. This is known as recovery phase. And during proliferative phase, the FSH and estrogen both helps in the proliferation, that is the development of different types of gland, blood vessels inside the uterus. So the blood vessels, the different types of glands, mucous linings, etc. are gradually develops in the uterus. So simultaneously Graafian follicle will develop and the uterine wall will gradually mature. This types of systems occurs up to 12 to 14 day. In 12 to 14 day, the LH titer rises due to the luteotrophs in the pituitary gland is stimulated by growth hormone releasing hormone, gonadotropic hormone releasing hormone, or GnRH. So GnRH stimulate the LH secretion from the luteotroph of pituitary, and LH titer increases, and as well as FSH and estrogen titer is already increased in the 12 to 14 day, and this is an ideal situation for the Graafian follicle to rupture and release its ovum. Now this Graafian follicle will release its ovum in the fallopian tube, and this fallopian tube, inside the fallopian tube there are ciliary movements are there which transport the ovum into the inside the ampulla. If the sperm is present there, then the uterine musculature will help to transport the sperm towards the ampulla. So the ovum is transported and sperm is transported ultimately into ampulla, and fertilization occurs if sperm is there. And if sperm is not present, then the ovum will gradually go out of the female body. So the menstrual cycle is also known as the funeral of the lost ovum, or the menstrual phase is known as the funeral of lost ovum. So in each menstrual cycle, one ovum is released, is matured and ultimately released from the female body. And this is the most important part of menstrual cycle, and questions comes from which hormone is responsible for the ovulation. This is the LH, as well as FSH and estrogen is there. Now the remaining part of the Graafian follicle will form corpus luteum, and this corpus luteum is nothing but accumulated lutein granules inside it. So the corpus luteum now secretes progesterone and inhibin from it. The progesterone will further proliferate the uterine wall and it become more and more thick. And as well as the corpus luteum will also release inhibin, and inhibin will prevent the secretion of FSH from pituitary. So when FSH is absent, estrogen will also be absent. So FSH down, estrogen down. Now LH is present and progesterone is present. Progesterone will further mature or further grow the uterine walls. For more glands, more blood vessels, more mucous lining, more epithelial lining will there. Now gradually the progesterone level will be down due to decreased secretion of LH. Now the FSH and estrogen is already low in concentration, and LH and progesterone concentration will gradually become low, and this phase is known as premenstrual or luteal or secretory phase, because it lasts for 12 to 14 days. After the 12 or 14 days are reached, it will again come to the menstrual phase. So this occurs cyclically. So this process is known as menstrual cycle. Now gradually the thickening of the uterine wall will gradually go out through the menstrual phase. So this is the menstrual cycle, and if fertilization occurs after ovulation, then at the premenstrual phase the thickening and implantation will occur. If the embryo implant inside the uterine wall, if embryo implant here, then it will form, the uterine wall will gradually form placenta, and placenta itself can secrete different types of hormones like placental estrogen, placental progesterone and human chorionic gonadotropin. Human chorionic gonadotropin, it maintains corpus luteum. That means the corpus luteum is maintained or remains inside the ovary with the help of HCG. If HCG is absent, corpus luteum will be gradually formed, it will gradually goes down and it will be lost. So the corpus luteum is the main organ which secretes progesterone, and progesterone support the uterine wall. When placental progesterone is there, it will do the same function. When implantation occurs, the phase is known as gravid phase. The gravid phase or the gestation period is 40 weeks or 280 days. At that time, the HCG or the placental hormone gradually forms the placenta and maintains the uterine wall. This is the menstrual cycle. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe my channel, share it with friends and press the bell icon for more this type of interesting videos.